The way to make government responsible is to hold it accountable. And the way to make government accountable is make it transparent.
Hitler has often protested that his plans for conquest do not extend across the Atlantic Ocean, but his submarines and raiders prove otherwise. And so does the entire design of his new world order. For example, I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government, by the planners of the new world order. That is his plan. It will never go into effect.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
And after 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
The hunger in dark places, the longing of the soul. When our founders declared a new order of the ages,
Saddam Hussein has gone to elaborate lengths, spent enormous sums, taken great risks to build and keep weapons of mass destruction.
Saddam Hussein is determined to get his hands on a nuclear bomb.
Nuclear weapon, nuclear weapon, nuclear weapon.
Active chemical munitions bunkers, mobile production facilities.
We know he's got chemical weapons. He's got them, he's got them, he's got them. Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
Congressman Massey joins me now from Washington, D.C. Congressman, how are you?
Doing well, Glenn. Thanks for having me on.
I'm concerned because I know you can't say anything because anything that you say can and will be held against you. So you know, you're going to have to talk cryptically here. But I was gravely disturbed by your description where you said you had to stop and refigure history every couple of sentences. Can you give us any other description other than that?
Well, absolutely. You know, when 9/11 happened and shortly thereafter, we were all like sponges. We're trying to absorb as much information to understand the who, the what, the why, the where. And then, but at some point, you quit collecting information because there's no more information to be had, or you think there's no more information. And it all sort of sets up like concrete in your brain. Well, as I was reading these 28 pages, I had to try and take apart that concrete that had set up, my own understanding of what had led up to 9/11 and what had enabled it. And then also what really hurt me was to wonder, why did my government keep this from me for 13 years? What were their motives? And you know, there will be anger, frustration, and embarrassment when these 28 pages finally come out. Those are all emotions that you described that I had while I was reading these pages. These are emotions that I think the public will have when they find
Here's what worries me, and I want to make sure that we're not talking about this. We went to war. We've killed a lot of people, and we used our own righteous indignation, our righteous anger to stop this. Have we done something morally reprehensible here? Is it going to change our understanding of war?
Well, you're right. We fought 2 wars ostensibly to keep another 9/11 from happening. And I'm not ready to relitigate those wars and the causes for going to war. But here's why I'm coming out right now and making this one of my priorities to get this out there, is we're talking about getting involved in 2 other wars, the war in Syria and a war in Iraq. And I don't want to relitigate the other wars, but look, before we jump into these wars, we need to understand what really caused 9/11. And if we're going to use 9/11 as a motivation to get involved in these civil wars in the Middle East, then I think the American public, and surely to goodness all of the congressmen up here are going to be voting on these wars, need to read these pages and understand what truly caused 9/11 and who our friends are and who our enemies are.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
I believe we, and particularly you, your class, has an incredible window of opportunity to lead in shaping a new world order.
The way we're going to win over the long term is not just militarily. We've got to win over hearts and minds. And what that means is we've got to invest in countries that have no educational infrastructure, have no means for young people to get ahead. We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
I've got a pen and I've got a phone.
And today that new world is struggling to be born. A world quite different from the one we've known.
You're either with us or you're with the enemy.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause. An era in which the nations of the world, East and West, North and South, can prosper and live in harmony.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
And so, on the president's watch, the following countries have become terrorist safe havens: Syria, Iraq, northern Pakistan, eastern Nigeria, Libya, Somalia, Iran, parts of Algeria, and parts of Afghanistan.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over.
Don't tell me words don't matter.
Indeed, I will suggest, if you are a Birkenstock-wearing, tree-hugging, Greenpeace activist, you should love the Keystone Pipeline. You should love the Keystone Pipeline because, number one, the Keystone Pipeline is not built. It means we will continue to rely more and more on overseas oil, and as long as there are oil on tankers, there will be spills. By any measure, transporting oil on a pipeline is far safer for the environment, far more controllable than overseas tankers.
In retaliation for the coalition's continuous aerial bombardment, Saddam Hussein unleashed a new kind of destruction. He ordered the Iraqi army to blow up the oil fields of Kuwait. It created scenes of apocalyptic devastation.
It looks like what I envisioned hell would look like. The country of Kuwait is burning.
Hundreds of wells were blown up, sending a wall of flame and smoke thousands of feet into the air. Pipelines were ruptured, storage tanks exploded, and huge lakes of oil pooled in the desert sand. Choking black clouds filled the air, and day turned to night as the smoke blocked out the sun.
This piece of environmental
See
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thank you, say. Thank you, say. Thank you, say.
They were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled.
I think. I mean, politics can be pretty ugly at times.
Do you think he'll be remembered primarily for his achievements in domestic policy or on the international?
I think a combination. I think when he stood there in Berlin and said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall," a lot of his critics in this country were going crazy, wringing their hands. This is outrageous rhetoric. This is no way to bring about relations with the Soviet Union, getting them on a better, higher plane. And sure enough, he and Gorbachev hit it off very well and moved the process forward. So he used the term evil empire. And some of the liberals in New York were wringing their hands and going crazy. Oh, this is terrible. This is the end of everything. He doesn't know how to conduct foreign affairs. And sure enough, a lot happened on his watch that was very, very positive towards a new world order.
You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear. I will continue to make that clear.
That is his plan.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate.
What difference at this point does it make?
This has gone on too long, cost too much, and hurt too many innocent people.